A baby was born in San Francisco in 1955, and his mother gave him up for adoption. The couple who took him promised his birth mother he would go to college, and told him all his life that they had specifically picked him out. The man who grew up would later describe his biological parents as his sperm and egg bank, nothing more. This episode asks what Freud's theory illuminates in that story, and the answer runs through 5 mechanisms colliding in one documented life. The abandonment wound, narcissistic splitting, reaction formation, sublimation, and the ego ideal working together across the whole career. The record gives us his behavior and his own words. The framework gives the chain. And the chain is the reading, not the verdict. This is the story of Steve Jobs told from the documented record, because the legend has already flattened it. Born to Joanne Schiebel and Abdul Fattah Jandali, a graduate student and a doctoral student who were not married, he was placed for adoption at birth. His birth mother wanted college-educated parents, and Paul and Clara Jobs, a machinist and a bookkeeper, promised the boy would go to college. The childhood episode that anchors the story. At 6 or 7, a girl asked him whether his real parents had not wanted him. Jobs said lightning bolts went off in his head, and he ran home crying, and his parents looked him straight in the eye and said, "We specifically picked you out." The turbulence behind the chosen narrative is documented. His birth mother went to court to have him removed from the Jobs household, and relented only on the promise of college. Clara later told his high school girlfriend she had been too frightened to love him at first, scared they would take him away, and that by the time he was 2, she had wanted to return him. Jobs was told of this later, and said he was already aware, and that he had been deeply loved and indulged by Paul and Clara. At Reed College, he dropped out after 1 semester and audited a calligraphy class, whose letterforms would later shape the Macintosh. With Steve Wozniak, he built the first Apple computers in a garage, and the company grew into a corporation. The reality distortion field was named by his own team in 1981, the ability to convince himself and others to believe almost anything. Wozniak said the field worked on its creator too. Steve could persuade himself and others of almost anything. In 1985, after a power struggle with the board and the chief executive he had recruited, he was fired from the company he had founded. He founded Next and bought Pixar from Lucasfilm for $10 million, and Toy Story became the first fully computer-animated feature film. Apple bought Next in 1996, and the following year he returned to the company that had fired him. The return produced the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad, one after another, and with them, a run of products that redefined whole industries. The hero/shithead dichotomy was documented by his colleagues. You were either one or the other, sometimes on the same day. Their work was either the best or totally shitty. People were either enlightened or assholes. And Bill Atkinson remembered a polarity of gods and shitheads. He demanded only A players, saying A players hire A players and B players hire C players, and mediocrity spreads downward. He did not seek out his biological father, and when his sister Mona later met the man, Jobs had no interest in meeting him. In 2005, he told the Stanford graduates to stay hungry, stay foolish, and to remember that death is the destination we all share. He resigned in 2011 and died in October of that year, at 56. Now the mechanisms, and the first is the ego ideal. The inner standard that says who you must be, built here on the sentence, "We specifically picked you out." The framework reads that ideal as the engine of the player standard, and of the demand to make a dent in the universe. The second mechanism is narcissistic splitting, the all-or-nothing division of the world, and the hero/shithead pattern is its most documented form. But splitting in the clinical sense is not the same as being demanding, and the label is one lens on documented behavior, never a diagnosis. The third is reaction formation, the turning of a feeling into its opposite, and the framework reads the sperm and egg bank line as its signature. His own words are the alternative reading, and he said it genuinely was not harsh, so the episode presents both readings side by side. The fourth is sublimation, the most generous claim of the theory. Calligraphy turned into typography, and perfectionism turned into products. And the fifth is the abandonment wound, the framework's reading of the adoption, of the question that girl asked. Each mechanism feeds the next: the wound, the chosen ideal, the split, the defense, the sublimation. One chain of readings, not a verdict. Now, the honest science. Adoption research finds that adoptees build identity narratives about what adoption means, and narrative coherence predicts adjustment. The chosen child framing is a real pattern in adoption discourse, about meaning-making, not pathology, and no research licenses a causal claim from adoption to any outcome. CEO research measures narcissistic traits unobtrusively and finds grandiosity and strategic dynamism, big wins and big losses, and no systematic performance advantage. And research on abusive supervision links sustained hostile behavior to lower satisfaction and higher exhaustion, a label that fits the documented style without diagnosing anyone. Now the honesty rules of this series, stated out loud. We never diagnose, the frame is what the theory illuminates in a story, never a claim about what a person was. Jobs denied the abandonment reading, and here is the circularity risk in its strongest form. If he had agreed, it would confirm the wound, and because he denied it, the denial confirms the wound. That is the problem. A reading that cannot be tested fits everything and proves nothing. The biography contest is part of the record. Isaacson's authorized biography drew the monster, and Becoming Steve Jobs drew the man who changed. And Tim Cook said the first did him a tremendous disservice. The record itself supports both the brilliance and the cruelty, and the meaning of the combination is contested, which is exactly the point. The splitting label fails as diagnosis. The same pattern is equally explained as a deliberate high-standard strategy, and the episode keeps both readings. The reality distortion field fails as pathology, too. Charisma research explains it, and its documented effectiveness, the Mac, the iPhone, undermines the grandiosity reading. What survives the adversarial reading is the documented behavior and his own words, and the framework's light, held honestly, illuminating the story, not explaining the man. The chosen child narrative, wound or gift, became a self-fulfilling engine that ran for 56 years. The framework illuminates the story without explaining the man, and the story is worth telling for what it shows about how origin stories work. And the man himself had the last word. I always felt special and chosen, he said in 1995. Last episode, we watched Karna, the hidden prince who was thrown away, and this is the chosen child who was kept. Two ends of the same fantasy of origin. This week, notice the stories you tell about where you came from, and ask what they are for. That is the honest version of Steve Jobs, the chosen child, read without a diagnosis, and a story about what an origin story can and cannot do.